What's going on, guys? Welcome to the pod, our first episode with your host, Umana, and I got Joe Tipton and Jamie Shaw of On 3. Guys, this is our first episode. Aren't y'all hyped?
Let's do it. I'm
Man,
excited, man.
This is great. This is great. Two great people. We got some great content. We're excited to reach the masses. This basketball season is going to be incredible. So let's rock and roll, baby.
let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. So, so no delay. Colben Landrew, he commits to UConn. Joe, I know you got the scoop. What led to him pledging to the Huskies?
What's interesting is he's a Southeast guy. I think he's originally from Mississippi. He claims Birmingham, Alabama. Obviously, everybody thought that he might go to an SEC program. People thought maybe Alabama, Auburn. He canceled both of those visits, decided to go elsewhere. Obviously, lands on UConn. There was some intel coming out as he went through his recruitment that maybe he did not necessarily want to go to an SEC program, that he was looking elsewhere. And I think it really came down to Louisville and UConn. And I think even when he got that UConn offer, it meant something special to him. I think the Steph Castle comparison, him wanting to go, away from the SEC and kind of find something new from him. Obviously, a big pickup for the Huskies.
Yeah, and Jamie, Joe mentioned that the comp to Castle, right? Where do you see the similarities within both of them?
Well, I think I'm not necessarily following suit with the comp to Castle. Castle's more of an on-ball guy, connector, off-ball guy who can secondarily create and do all that with even some primary stuff mixed in. With Colben, I think the usage, the low usage that he has with his ability to still affect the game is kind of his superpower when it comes to a prospect. Big, strong frame. Now that's where he's similar to Castle. The big 6'6", 200+ pound, long arms, body. Very similar to Castle in that way. But his off-ball role with low usage, able to pull gravity with the jump shot, able to scale up a defensive lineup with his physicality, and that kind of stuff, still moving the ball, being able to play within the role of any system whatsoever, being able to play within a role. But we watched kind of with UConn how they utilize their wings, how Danny Hurley has set plays for each guy to be able to get specific shots on the floor, move the ball, and set actions to create mismatches within the offense. Colben's a perfect fit for that. Again, I keep going back to the word low usage, but very efficient with his movements and able to fit within that type of system and role, being able to pull gravity and move the ball, elevating the floor kind of the team and the people around him.
Like Joe was talking about with how, more offers came in, more schools than UConn came in later, and just how his recruitment grew. That's because he started playing really good in the summer. I mean, I remember seeing him in NBA Top 100 camp in the July live period. He was the best player on that team for Gamble League. They won the championship, in my opinion. He was. What did you see different, Jamie, this year that has led to him having to take that big jump in the national polls?
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with giving up football. Before, when he was down in Alabama, after he moved from Mississippi to Alabama, he was a high major football player. He had multiple high major Division I offers, including Alabama. He moved to Wheeler High School, decided to focus solely on basketball, and that's when his game started to take off. I mean, this past summer, he won an Adidas Euro Cup championship. He won a state championship, 6A at Wheeler, and he won the Adidas 3SSB championship. So kind of his ability to fit within the mold of different teams, different settings, different offenses, and his ability to kind of focus strictly on basketball has helped him to take off with some upside still to go. He's only been focused on basketball for a year and a half, possibly strictly on basketball. So there's still some upside there to fill out into that 6'6" frame, ability to dribble, shoot, and pass into an advantage.
Right. I really like, his scoring capabilities, and he definitely has like that football frame, like those broad shoulders and just frame it. He really uses it, like even as a driver, how he embraces and just finishes through contact as well. And there's some real upside as far as being like a dynamic scorer, attacking right. I've seen him be a little bit more fluid and more comfortable doing that. So that makes a lot of sense because I heard he was a football player, but when I just see him play, it's like, okay, it makes sense. But I didn't know how in depth he was in it. And seeing like, a year and a half of just playing, now playing and focusing on basketball, everything's making sense. So congrats to Colben on that. But, let's continue on. Let's get to the next topic, and Tyrant Stokes. All right. We were all at the Border League. Tipton, Hey, you know what? It's the first pod because I was calling you Joe. I need to call you Tipton. I know you Joe's your first name, but I'm gonna call you
That's
Tipton.
cool.
That's how
That's
I'm gonna
cool.
that's how I'm gonna go with you. So Tipton, just give an update on this recruiting. How has that been going?
Yeah, it's I think he's done taking visits. He's down to 5 schools: Kentucky, Kansas, Louisville, Oregon, and USC. We thought a decision might happen late last week, and there was plenty of speculation about that. Never came to fruition. I think Tyran is kind of a guy that wants to do things on his own accord, and not necessarily string this thing out too much longer. But I do think he's eventually going to wrap this thing up. There was plenty of buzz about Kentucky, but I was told over the weekend that Kansas is going to make a pretty big push here and see if they can make things interesting. I would still classify UK as the leader, but Bill Self, man, just something about how he operates. He makes something out of nothing, and it might look like everybody thought Tay Kenny was going to go to Louisville, and then until Tay Kenny visited, and he flipped that thing around. So Kansas is definitely one to watch out for, but I think UK is still in a good spot for Tyran.
You know, what's interesting about Kansas is, I mean, they have 4 guys that committed, right? With Davion Bardwell at 27, but you know, speculation he's going to class up, and then Trent Perry, uh, and then I think they got some. They got is that it right now, Jamie?
Joe, what do you
Yeah,
think?
so Davion Adkins, Tay Kenny, Javon Bardwell is a 27, could be a 26, and then Trent Perry. Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on them potentially taking 5 high school players, especially in the climate of college basketball?
I think if you have the opportunity to take Tyran Stokes, you have to take him no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, he's one of the few players that I think, no disrespect to Kansas's class, but just like in this day and age where it's so transfer heavy and so international heavy, like there's very few freshmen that can make a huge impact. And Kansas has some of those guys, but Tyran is one of those dudes that can make a very real impact and be a stud for you right away.
Jamie, and that makes a lot of sense, Tipton. I was one. I won. That's why I wanted to get out of you. It was like, hey, you got to take someone like that. I don't care if you know we had 7, we have 7 high school kids. And he makes the 8. You got to take a kid like Tyran Stokes. But Jamie, just give an analysis of his game, and you know the speculation, like Tipton said, has been Kentucky, and how would he fit in Coach Pope's system?
Well, looking at Tyron's game, he brings physicality. He brings a natural physicality with his size, 6'7", 220. You see he's playing football right now as a tight end as well. And he's got that natural athleticism to his game. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say bully ball because he's far from bully ball, but there's a physical aspect to his game that he brings that his peers just simply don't have. When you break his game down a little bit further when it comes to the skill aspect, you notice he's somewhat efficient with the ball. He's not afraid to get off the ball, move it around. He's also get downhill. He creates opportunities, being able to get into the jump shot, and he's also a good passer. If you look at his international play, he's won 3 gold medals, FIBA gold medals with USA Basketball. In those 3 summers, 20 games, he's averaged 4 assists per game. So there's some on-ball stuff there that he has with being able to move the ball, collapse the defense, spray it around, get his teammates involved, while also being able to score the basketball. 23 points per game this summer on the EYBL circuit. It's 48% from the field. There's an efficiency there, able to get downhill. He's electric in transition, but he's got a unique blend of physicality, explosion, and skill set, which I believe puts him in that top tier, that top 1% of this class in the 2026 class. Fitting in with Kentucky, they play with a lot of spacing. Mark Pope's system provides a lot of spacing. There's room for straight line drops to the rim. There's also room for jump shots as well. Tyron's somebody they're going to be able to put the ball in his hands. He can toggle between, depending on how you want to play, the 3 and the 4. You can put the ball in his hands in the half court and be able to run some offense through him and around him, while also he's able to pull some gravity sometimes on the jump shot with the pull up and all that type of stuff as well. Very unique player, very unique among this 2026 class, and it's a nice fit within the Mark Pope spread type offense and with the spacing that he brings.
One thing I was really impressed with Tyron was just his leadership at Border League. I thought he did a lot better job encouraging his teammates and just, you know, say, hey, shoot, you got to shoot that one, you're open. And then when he shot it, you know, he was just really confident it was going in, which, you know, let's not like pretend the speculation and the reports about like his attitude and the concerns of it had been in the past. But what I've really seen from Tyrant, plus what you're saying about his game, is that I think from a maturity standpoint, he's starting to really grow up. And I think that's just that part, that the maturation, that's a big piece for him, especially, someone that's projected to be a top player like in that 27 draft and the number 1 player in this class. So I love how I agree with you, like with the passing, the pull-up shooting, just him using his body, the blend of like the athleticism, the skill, and the power. And I just am really happy to see him, become more of a leader, becoming a better teammate, especially with when you mention Tyran Stokes' character, there's some people that just will really try to knock him. And I think he's just doing a better job. What's your thoughts on that, Jamie?
Well, I think now what you're seeing is I think that you're seeing him possibly become a brand. We saw this past cycle with AJ Dybasta, former teammate, the number 1 player in this past class. He had the endorsement deals, the Red Bull, the Nike, and all that stuff. It just came out that Tyran Stokes signed a Nike deal as well. I think that you're seeing this day of NIL in this age of all of that, the high school level moving into college and the pros. He's becoming a brand, and you can see times of that taking a hold of building his brand, of building what he's able to kind of portray and put out there, and having big brands jump on board with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So to the next player, Daron Rippy Jr. Joe, where does his
Yeah, he's in the middle of, I think he might have taken 7 or 8 visits at this point. He is in no rush to make a decision at all. I think he has at least 3 left: Duke, NC State, and Tennessee. And he's been to Louisville, Carolina, Miami, Texas, Kentucky, and maybe even a couple others that I'm forgetting. But I think that I think he's down to he has an official list of 7 or 8, but I think he's going to trim that down to 4 or 5 after his final official visit, which will be to NC State, I think the weekend of November 7th. So after he takes that visit, he's going to cut things down. It wouldn't surprise me if he makes a decision by the early signing period, but it also wouldn't surprise me if he stretches it out either. Because, like I said, he is one that has not been in a rush with any decision when it relates to college.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he definitely has it. Jamie, I've been hearing like some dark horse schools. Can you expand upon like the schools that may be in the mix for Rippy?
Well, talking with a lot of people, obviously, this has spanned out a long time. His Louisville visit was very early, and then starting after this summer, he kind of spread things out. And every weekend, it seems that he's going somewhere. Talking with some people around the recruitment, I agree 100% with Joe. It sounds like he's not close to a decision necessarily right now. It also sounds like he's going to wait a little bit, watch some games during the season before he makes a decision, quite possibly. As for a timeline, not sure. A lot of people recently tell me that they're going to be watching Tennessee and NC State visits as they come up. Obviously, he's got Duke, Tennessee, and NC State in that order coming up. A lot of people say they're going to be watching that Tennessee and NC State visit, see how things go there, and then kind of gather the intel coming out of that. Obviously, those are his last 2, and there's going to be information kind of is going to come more as he finishes up his visits and heads into decision-making mode. More information is going to come out and everything. He's been unbelievable this entire summer. So there are schools that are making him a top priority and continuing, even though if he's been on campus, they're continuing contact, continuing pushing and pressing for him as well. But I have had some people recently tell me they're going to be watching that Tennessee and NC State visit.
Joe, you mentioned that he may make a spring decision. Jamie, you said the same thing. I want to get your thoughts on this. If you're him, arguably the best point guard in the country, Jamie, I know you put an article about that. Like, he's in that conversation. Make sure y'all subscribe if you want to read it. You want to read this stuff, make sure you subscribe.
Right.
If you're him, when would you decide early? Would you decide late? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's tough because I think when you are a player of his caliber, you can really late as long as you want. And if a team really, really wants you, they will hang around and wait for you to make a decision. If I am Daron Rippy Jr., I would want to wait a little bit longer just to see what other schools come up with. Does one of the schools that I'm considering, do they take a player that that is a similar position to me, or maybe I just don't want to play with him in general? See also maybe a few games into the season or maybe even to January and league play where you kind of look at the roster. Hey, who's going to be perhaps a sleeper in the NBA draft process? or get some feedback, just overall of what my role would look like now that you've had some games under your belt, like what you project your roster to look like the following year whenever I come in. But with that, there's always risk and concern. If you know where you really want to go and you feel good about it and you trust the coaching staff to go ahead and get it out of the way, because like many of these schools, they're recruiting more than one point guard. So if another point guard cuts in front of you in line and says, "Hey, I'm coming, fill in the blank school," then more than likely you will not be suiting up for that program. So it's one of those things. If you know, you should just go ahead and make it. But there's risk associated both ways.
Makes a lot of sense. Jamie, what's your thoughts? And give an analysis on Daron Rippy as well.
For sure. Well, coming into early or late, I think Joe kind of hit the nail on the head, as he does with every recruiting topic that he ever talks about. Nobody's more in theme with recruiting than Joe. But I think he kind of hit the nail on the head. If you know where you want to go and you're comfortable with the business side, the off court side of things, you're comfortable with the role and all that, there's no need to wait. However, what waiting does bring, possibly, if you're comfortable with your standing within the hierarchy, is leverage. After the early signing period, teams are able to go back to the board. They know exactly where their NIL stands. They know exactly where their rev share stands. They know exactly what the roster looks like, what they got and didn't get. They're able to regroup. If you wait until a little bit later, then they're able to regroup, and you can, on the business side of things or on the off the court side of things, you can get everything in line and maximize exactly what it is that you want from the schools that you're trying to go to. So if you're comfortable with the off the court stuff, the NIL stuff, the role and all that stuff, it makes no sense to wait until late. But if you want to try to kind of see where things are at and regroup and go from there, waiting till late does create some leverage, and you get to see who you're going up against, who else is on the recruiting board, and then you can have these number of schools continue to kind of go after you with their best foot forward.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. And by the way, guys, like, we're not gonna always agree. Like, I think this first episode we warm it up. He just did some some easy takes right now, but I do agree with both of you guys. Of a player that caliber, like, waiting late has its advantages, right? Being able to see who's playing on those like who's maybe a sleeper prospect on that program, if they're going to bring someone from your position, and you really get to see who's really prioritizing you, right? Like, some may be really impatient, and then they just go get somebody because they just got to get somebody, right? And I think at the end of the day, you want to play for someone that is making you a top priority, and also you want to know what you're about to get yourself into. But if the business side makes sense, NIL and all that, and play style, role and everything, and just when you go on the visit, you feel like this is a place you can spend your college years at, then yeah, you make that decision. But I do like that these guys do have the power to, hey, let me wait and see how this looks before I commit here. And you choose the wrong spot. We've seen it for years. It can really derail you, but you pick the right spot, it can make you millions of dollars for years to come. So,
and kind of with that too, you get to see some of these schools with new coaches, some of these schools with new systems. Some of these coaches might have never had a point guard go pro before. You get to watch a little bit of gamemanship within that as well, to kind of see what it looks like along those lines. And also, kind of to your point as well, I don't think every high school kid has this type of leverage.
Yes.
Just the top of the top is able to kind of wait and dictate, do that. A lot of kids, especially in this climate, if they don't commit during the early season, they might have to wait a long time, because the market's just going to dry up. Schools focuses are going to go to the transfer portal, college season transfer portal, and all that, and it could wait in line there. So while there's a select few people, Daron Rippy is probably one of those select few. Waiting it out is not necessarily for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about the border league, especially when it came to Tyrant Stokes in that segment. But we want to give our two sleeper border league performers. There was a lot of talent there, guys. This was this was my second year, and I was like, because I didn't go last year because I got married.
Oh, so did I. What day did you get married, Ani?
October 19th.
You can't forget that one.
I almost had to think about it for a little bit.
So your anniversary is in 5 days. Don't forget about that either. Yeah.
Yes, correct. I will not. I got the present. I got the present already. My wife reminded me last week. I was like, oh yeah, well, that is coming.
That's funny. October
How about you?
5th. October 5th, just celebrated. Yep.
Okay, that's my birthday. Yeah. Oh wow, let's go, let's go. But so Joe, you just celebrate your anniversary. You go first. Who are you?
Yeah, my top two are Quincy Wadley, for starters. He was a really highly ranked guy. I guess when he was an underclassman, Jamie, he was like a top 25-ish level talent. Really got beat down by injuries, just really struggled to stay healthy. I know there was plenty of teams that were a big fan of him as a sophomore and junior, but just couldn't find his way onto the court, it seemed. But he's playing with AZ Compass now. I think he's originally from the DC area. But I love bigger guards. Like I love guards 6'4", 6'5". He's wiry, but he's strong. Big time scorer as well. I think he's only taken one official visit to Cal. I just checked with him earlier today. No other official visits currently scheduled. But after one of his games at Border League, a blue blood school reached out to me, asked about him. Another Big Ten school. So I think he's going to get some increased recruitment here. And then following Quincy Wadley is Felipe Quinones. Played at IMG last year, but he's now at Columbus High School down in Miami. Also another guy that doesn't really have a, he's not being overly recruited. I think he hasn't taken any official visits at this point at all. Florida Atlantic and Cincinnati were two schools that he mentioned about setting some schools, some visits up with. But he's another player that I really like what I saw from him. A lot of confidence, a lot of scoring ability, good size as well. I've always really liked him as well. So hopefully his recruitment picks up as well. So that's my two.
Yeah, Quincy Wadley, that was one I was thinking about choosing. I was just happy because I followed some of the Pro 16 Puma circuit. I went to a few sessions, and I was really wishing to see him more. And so to see him in the Border League scene play those 3 games, I'm like, okay, yes, like he's playing. He seems like he's rolling. He's scoring the basketball at a high level, like you said, big guard. He's initiating some offense. It was just for me, it was happy to just see him like kind of get back to stacking the days. You know what I mean? And just like putting up a string of really good performances. So it's not a surprise that there's some blue bloods now starting to ask about him. Jamie, name your two.
Yeah, for sure. Going back, piggyback on Joe, those are two great names. Quinones is another one. He had some FIBA success a couple years ago. Seems that he's picking up where he left off kind of after going into Columbus this year. Very much like him as a prospect. Two good names there. For me, the first one, Adonis Ratliff. He started off night one on Friday. He had a great matchup against Erfan Diane, whom we have ranked at Rivals as the #1 center in the class. 35 points on 9 threes. Mind you, Adonis Ratliff is 7 foot tall. This is the incredible intrigue that comes with his game. His dad, Theo Ratliff, is one of the top shot blockers in NBA. Played a long time in the league and everything. His game is not like his dad's, but he comes from that NBA pedigree. He comes from that. His dad was an underrated player, went to Wyoming, carved out a role in the league, and then became one of the best shot blockers to play especially during his era. Adonis comes from that same lineage, 7 foot tall. He's a very fluid athlete. As we noted, the 9 threes, he's a man. Can we even say he's a sniper? I mean, he's actually like a legitimate shooter. If he was 6'2", he would still be a great shooter with his 7 foot, able to dribble, get downhill, able to create advantages off the bounce. His whole thing, similar to Wadley, like Joe said, is staying on the court and staying healthy. He missed this entire summer with injury, getting back to health, which kind of put him out of sight, out of mind, even to our detriment as the rankings people at Rivals. We dropped him down a little bit as well, just because he hadn't been playing for the last few months. Well, that made us look foolish coming out this past weekend. He was also at USA Basketball this past weekend, had an incredible, he was one of my top 10 performers throughout the entire weekend at USA Basketball. His stuff with his recruitment wise, he's been on an official visit to Alabama. He's currently on an official visit to USC, Southern Cal with his twin brother, Darius. Arkansas is also involved. He mentioned Texas as well. Wouldn't surprise to see him actually do an early, commit during the early signing period. It seems that things might be trending that way as his recruitment is really ramping up. But the upside that Adonis Ratliff brings checks so many boxes, even at the highest levels of basketball, with the positional size, fluidity, shooting ability, and upside. Rail thin right now. He'll need to continue to add weight to do that, even to get on the college court, let alone talking past that. And continue to add weight. But gosh, man, he's almost like clay right now with the way he can mold and fit his game toward it as he goes to the next levels. There's so many pathways there. Fascinating to see. Excited to see what this next year brings for him. He's my first guy. Second one was Malachi Jordan out of Dream City Christian. He's another player that was relatively highly ranked in the 20s or so coming into this. Wow, what a step he has taken this season. You watched him this past year in AAU on the 16U level. He operated mostly from the mid post area, kind of the elbows, finding advantages in that mid range area, one dribble downhill at the rim. He was a full on wing. Now, mind you, again with the frame, Malachi Jordan 6'7", 220. He's got a plus wingspan, incredible athletic build and frame. He has ball skills. He was making shots from the volleyball line in this, and his confidence continued to build and build. He went to a small private school in Tennessee. The competition level was questionable, so it was really hard to get a read on him this past high school season. As to the pure talent level, I mean, it was obvious he was the best player on every floor he walked on there in high school this past year. But how good was it? We saw him this past summer, and the role that he played with his AAU team was more of a kind of a mid-post four-man, able to create advantages that way. Watching him at Dream City Christian, it has expanded his game, and it's shown his full kind of arsenal toolkit of what he's able to bring. There's advantage creation from the wing off the bounce. There's range. He's able to do some mid-post stuff in the area, and he's a highly combustible athlete as well at the rim. Huge upside that he brings. It was really good to be able to see, and that's why we love to watch guys in different settings. What their role is with different players in different settings can change. Malachi's changed into being a go-to type scorer with high upside as he continues to consolidate things and streamline his skill set. But Malachi Jordan, 2027 wing at Dream City Christian would have been my second one.
Yeah, I like the Adonis Radcliffe because I remember I watched that game, right? And that wasn't even the game wasn't close. And so someone asked me, it's like, how many threes you think he made? I'm thinking like it was on crazy like 5 or 6. They said no, it said 9. And I was like, holy shit, like he made 9 threes. And Jamie, to your point, when you said if he was 6'2", we would call him a sniper. So, I know he's 7 foot tall, but the way he shoots it, like how he gets it out of his hand quick, not even fazed by anybody contesting his shot, it was super impressive, especially in that game. And he's another one like Quincy. We talked about. I think he only played 4 games in EYBL. So you said he kind of made y'all look foolish. It was like, no, he just finally played.
Yeah, he get down on the court. I mean, it's one of those things. We were high on him early. He just didn't play. So there were questions came with that. But man, you should have heard Joe talking about Adonis after that game. I mean, even leaking into the next morning, Joe was just reflecting on what did I just watch.
So, Jamie, that's how I was, because I'm like, dog, he
was
is
insane.
insane. The crap out, the piss out the ball, like it was crazy. It was insane. Like I haven't seen something like that in a long time. Like it was super, super impressive.
He did it at USA Basketball this past week too. It was a good output.
Good. And then Malachi Jordan, like you said, I've kind of seen more like do more mid-post work. And then in Dream City, he got to really expand his game, work on the wing, be able to attack and go. And then he still was able to get into the mid-post even when he drove. Like if he got caught up, got cut off, then he would get into then he would post up, get into a finish. Like I really like his athleticism. It's like the stuff you're talking about with him. He's really, I think when you hit the nail on the head on just different settings, because if you don't, as an evaluator, look at them in like grassroots, school, even camps, and just kind of see you'll get to see like their whole like basketball skill set, and it gives you a better like eval or feel on what the kid is, and see how he's grown. Like like you said, from the summer to now, you can tell there has been some growth, which is impressive because we're talking about the summer was in July, and we're in October.
100%.
For me, my 2 is Brandon Mason Jr., 227 from ABC Prep. About 6'5", 6'6". His dad, Brandon Mason Sr., played at New Mexico State. He was just making some tough ass shots. Like he was making some tough shots off the bounds, making athletic plays. I was just super impressed just with his like self-creation skills, his ability to get to the rim, his ability to just stop on a dime, getting to pull up and shoot. I like big guard wings that, really utilize their size, their elevation on the jumper, then they get unfazed by length and athleticism. So I think he was in a step in the right direction there. Like, he took some really tough shots. I'm not always like a big, like, tough shot maker guy, but guys that can confidently make it and make it consistently, they're, they hold a big role in basketball now and in the later stages. So his recruitment right now, I know he got offers from Xavier and UNLV after Border League. So I mean, he was really impressive to me. And then the second one for me, who did I say my second one was? Hold on, guys. I drew a blank. I was rolling with you guys. What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Sniper.
how did I forget this? Alex Smith, prolific prep. My bad, Alex. My bad, Alex. My bad. So Alex Smith, he committed to Ohio State, about 6'9". Shoots the cover off the ball. Like when they played the prolific played that Serbian team, he was really making shots like in trail situations and transition, spot up. He can do some stuff on the move. Like he was just really versatile with his shooting. And I just like guys that have size and shoot. Like, we talk about Adonis Ratliff. I was feeling like guys that can really make shots at the end of the day. That's the point of basketball. So Alex Smith, he just really impressed me, even with his toughness. There was no Davian Atkins. He kind of had to he had to really do a lot like in the front line as far as like post defense and stuff like that. And I think he needs to get stronger and better at that. But I liked his like activity level. It's just the way he competed and then sprint down on the other side, make a three, just really create space for like Nazir Anderson to attack. And, then when he's on a ball screen, like with Bruce Branch and he's coming off it, you got to kind of pick and choose how you want to defend that. He just created mismatches and created like positional advantages for his teammates. And that's what really just impressed me, just his feel, his activity level, and his shot making.
I'm with you 100% on Alex Smith. And again, this goes to the setting as well. Midwest basketball this summer, he showed some ability off the bounce, being able to self-create some advantages and stuff. Well, he's not going to do that on this team with Bruce Branch and Nas Anderson and all that type of stuff. He's not going to have on ball creation. So what he was able to do was provide space. He pulled gravity with them, and being able to fit into multiple roles in different situations is what you want to see from a prospect, especially a tertiary guy who's, I don't want to say a secondary guy, but a guy who's not the primary focus. He's able to efficiently pull gravity, create spacing, and help his team in that manner. Great to see him in a different role. I'm fascinated to see what he does this season with Prolific Prep because, man, he was on fire. He was on fire at the Border League.
Absolutely. No, he definitely was.
Feel good, man. Excited to do more.
Man, this is the first episode. How you guys feeling? Yeah,
I'm feeling good. Yeah, man. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun season.
Yeah, absolutely. No, hey guys, this is gonna be a weekly pod. Sometimes we got to go weekly because we're traveling a lot. Us three, we're going to be traveling a lot. We're going to be really busy, but we're going to provide you, especially when you got guys like Tipton who has big time intel, Jamie Shaw who's a big time evaluator and has intel. Two hardworking guys, and then me. I do a little bit of work too. I know
you got everything, Ani. You got everything. You're an absolute star in this space, man. Everybody knows who Ani is, so you're a star too, man.
No, I appreciate it. So next episode, guys, we're gonna talk about USA basketball. Jamie was there, and then we'll give you more recruiting nuggets from Tipton, and then more analysis from all of us. All right. So appreciate you guys. Welcome to the pod. This is your weekly recruiting, and not just recruiting. We're gonna be talking about a lot of things. So just stay tuned.